I haven't managed my time very well, and today I have to rush to finish my project for a class, and this is a class that is more oriented to linguistics. So I have to write a paper. I decided to do mine on fan fiction, so it has been fun to do this project, but it's also very exhausting and very demanding. But yeah, today is the last. I just have to finish, basically. I'm almost done, but I know it's going to take me some hours, so today I'm going to be working on that project specifically. And I just want to be over with this one. I really liked it. It was fun because I did it about something that I really like. I really like. I don't read that much fan fiction, and I don't write it. I used to write fan fiction when I was younger, but not anymore. I just like the idea of fan fiction and the phenomenon of fan fiction and how it allows people to be very creative. And I don't know, I'm a big fan of fan fiction as a thing. I try to do my best. I don't know how it's going to end up. I'm very good with literature courses, but I have a bit of trouble when it comes to linguistics. It's definitely not my area of specialty. So yeah, that's how things are going.
No? You and I are going to have to spend a lot of time in class together in springtime. I know. We're just talking. Talking? You two? About Frank?
These last couple of weeks have just been very hectic and insane. I've been suffering through the last weeks of my degree, well, not of my degree, I mean of this semester, of the last semester, which were very heavy. I still have exams and I still have some projects and some presentations and other stuff to do, but I don't have to go to class anymore, which is a relief because I have been so exhausted. But I'm glad to be back here and back home where I can do things at my own rhythm. This next couple of weeks I'm going to be mostly studying for finals, but also reading a lot because I'm doing a summer course in modernist literature, so I have to read like 5 full novels for that. So I have to commit. 5 novels don't sound like a lot for some people, but I am in finals, and also modernist literature tends to be a bit challenging, at least for me, because of how experimental and complex and weird the language can be sometimes. So I have a lot of reading to do. But yeah, I think that I'm going to enjoy this month and the next one because I am here at home, even though I'm studying for exams. First, I want to talk about what I've been reading because I haven't updated you guys in a while. I'm going to open my Goodreads because I forget what I've been reading. Okay, so in the last blog I did talk about reading Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, which I did finish, and I did a presentation on the novel, and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars, and I think that it was a very interesting book. Definitely the kind of books that I want to continue reading, and it was a lot of fun to do it for class because we did a group presentation, and what was very fun was discussing with a couple of other people how we felt about the book and finding so many themes and the different ways in which the author decided to portray different elements of his story. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed not only the book but the experience that we had around it. I also finished reading The Faceless Old Woman Who Secretly Lives in Your Home, which is a novel from the podcast Welcome to Night Vale. That was actually an audiobook that I was listening because it's read by Mara Wilson, who plays the character of the Faceless Old Woman in Night Vale. Well, if you don't know Night Vale, Night Vale is a podcast. It's a really good podcast, a fictional podcast about this weird town and the many weird characters that live in it. And it's like a fictional radio program. And I actually did a video on Welcome to Night Vale in my previous channel because of how much I loved that podcast. And because I loved Night Vale so much, I was very excited when I found out that they had a couple of books. And I decided to start with this one because the faceless old woman is a character that I enjoy a lot. I started reading this last year actually, and it took me a long time to finish it. Not because it wasn't entertaining, but maybe it's just not. It's weird because I thought that it wasn't my kind of book. Maybe I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars because I think that it was a very good book. But I do feel like I was a bit disappointed by it. So what I didn't get from The Faceless Old Woman, I am currently getting from This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is of course very popular right now because of the whole thing with the tweet of this guy who tweeted about the book, and he just said like, go listen to this audiobook. It's very short and go without any context. And I'm easily persuaded, so of course I obeyed. But it's interesting because I usually don't like to read stuff or even watch stuff when it's very, very popular, not because of any sort of statement, not because I'm against popular things, but because it's a bit overwhelming for me to engage with something when it's constantly being thrown at me in social media. I usually wait for the hype to go down a bit before I actually try to read or listen to the thing and get my own opinion, which means that I'm usually very lonely in fandom spaces, but that's okay. But with this book, it didn't really bother me because on the first hand, I enjoyed a lot the whole like social phenomena around the street. I think that it was a lot of fun. But also, I just think that what was very popular and what was very talked about was the tweet, was the phenomenon, and not really the book or the contents of the book. So that maybe made me want to read it more because I didn't know anything about it. And I'm now around 75% of the book. It's hard for me to speak about it right now because I had to stop reading because it was becoming so painful to continue with this experience that I had to close the app and go do something else. There is something about this book that has connected with me in such an intimate way, and it has made me suffer and it has made me feel such gut-wrenching emotions, like very intense feelings and emotions, and I was feeling physical pain. I was not able to breathe normally, and it wasn't even about the actions in the book. It wasn't about something that the characters did. It was just the way that it's expressing certain themes. And if you want to read it, I am not going to spoil anything about it. I am not going to say anything about the book, but I do recommend you to go with a certain mindset. You should know that this book is very, very dramatic, like overly dramatic with its language and with the portrayal of the characters, and everything around it is it's very dramatic. And I think that's okay. Like, you should go with the mindset that this book is not realistic. It's definitely a more it's more of a caricature of certain feelings and things. I don't think that's a flaw. I do get why many people think that it's written like in a very cheesy way maybe, But I think that if you go with a certain mindset and understand that the book is almost like an anime or a cartoon, that it's very like out there, it's very expressive. If you understand all of that, I think that you can at least enjoy it, even though it's not perfect, even though I can see many things to criticize about this book. I can also acknowledge that it has made me experience some very deep emotions, and to me that's one of the most important aspects of literature. And I think that just for the fact that I'm hurting so much, I am going to give it 5 stars, and it's going to become one of my favorite books of this year. I still have to finish the book, so I'll let you know how it goes when I finish this. But at the moment, I can certainly say that I have suffered with this book. I don't think that I'm going to finish it today, but maybe tomorrow, because right now I'm just feeling so overwhelmed by this book. But it's been fun. Hi guys, welcome back. Today I've been home. I felt very, very bad in the morning, so I stayed in bed, and I wanted to do a lot of stuff, but yeah, that happened. So now I have to rush through the rest of the day. But I did finish This Is How You Lose the Time War, and it was a lot. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to comment that much on it, but the ending was not as good as the middle section of the book. I don't think so. Like, it was very good. It was very interesting, and it definitely allows you to read the book again and make a different experience. But maybe I felt a bit like I could lower the score a little. But just the idea and the fact that it made me feel so much yesterday, I think that's already enough for me. So I'm still going to give it 5 stars. I think it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and maybe I'll talk a bit more about it in a future video about like my ratings or something. This book was maybe so far my favorite one of the year. I hope it's not my favorite book of the year, because I want to read more interesting stuff. I want to find other books that I enjoy, but so far it has become my favorite book of this year. Oh, I wanted to show you what I've been reading these days, but I left some of the books in my room. I'm going to show you these first, the ones that I have here. Yesterday I also started reading volume 9 of Haikyuu, which, as I told you in a different blog, is one of my favorite stories ever. It's my favorite anime. I really love the show, and I've seen it like 7 times. So I decided to start reading the manga, because it's being published here in Spain at the moment. and I'm currently on volume 9, and it's really good. It's very very similar to the anime, but it's still I still enjoy to get to experience the story again in a different medium. I've been reading. Well, this is nonfiction. This is just a guide to some of the poems of T.S. Eliot. I've already read some stuff from T.S. Eliot in my university class in my 20th and 21st century literature course. But I'm going to have to read some more stuff for the summer course that I will be taking in July. So I wanted to have like another critical perspective and try to really understand T.S. Eliot, because so far I haven't been able to connect with him. I did enjoy a critical essay that he wrote about like authorship, and I don't remember the title right now, but maybe I'll write it somewhere around here. I did enjoy him as a critic. I think that he has some interesting ideas, even though I don't completely agree with everything he says. He does have some interesting ideas, but as a poet I haven't been able to connect with him, so that's why I'm reading that. I also have Heart of Darkness. I haven't finished this book. I started this in the previous vlog, and the previous vlog I recorded it like a month ago. And this book is very short, but it's so hard for me to read it. I don't like the way that this man writes. He irritates me, and he gets to my nerves. So I don't know what's with me and this guy, but I haven't been able to finish it. I just have like maybe 40 pages left, and I really need to finish it because it's for school, but I don't want to anymore. I'm so tired of him. And then I'm also reading a couple of nonfiction books. I usually don't show you what I read in the nonfiction department because I don't always finish these books. Sometimes I just start reading them and read the most interesting parts, and I don't really count them towards my Goodreads goals. But I'm going to show you these just because they're very interesting and cute. So, I mean, physically cute because the topics. But this is Staying Alive by Vandana Shiva. This is a woman who has written a lot about ecofeminism, and this book is about how progress and industry and all of that has affected women in developing countries. So that's interesting. And I'm also reading Neo-Feminist Cinema, Girly Films, Chick Flicks, and Consumer Culture by Hilary Ratner. And this is just I don't know if they're essays, but it's divided into different films and analyzed through a feminist point of view. So that's also very interesting. I haven't started that one, but I have started the rest of them. A Ghost in the Throat by Dorian Nigrifa. This is an Irish book, an Irish contemporary book. And so far I just know that it's about like womanhood and how women have lived throughout the centuries and stuff. It seems very interesting, and I do have to read it for a class because I have to do a presentation on this on June, but I am reading it because I suggested this reading. I mean, we had other stuff that we could pick from, but I decided to read this one. And I've also been reading Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, which is another one of these books that I'm reading for the summer course that I will be taking. Okay, I've been reading for like 5 minutes and I'm already confused. I'm already very lost. What is this? Why is this woman 18 and 50 at the same time? I am so confused by this book. What is going on? Help. I read To the Lighthouse a couple of months ago, and it was like a bit hard to understand, but am I just dumb? Am I just tired? I don't know what is going on. Okay, I am back on track. I understand now, but I did need the help of Spark Notes, and I'm very humbled and ashamed of myself. why was Virginia Woolf like this? Like, she's her own worst enemy. I can never read her books. Like, and yeah, that's what I've been reading lately. Apart from that, today I think that I'm just going to work for a bit, and then I'm going to be with my partner for some time. And yeah, that is going to be today for me.